I'm not by any means an expert in making movies. I do know that a general rule of thumb, and like probably the first rule when it comes to making a movie, is that it shouldn't suck. And clearly, Zack Snyder did not get the memo here because this movie blows all sorts of chunks. It's not very good until the last like 20 minutes. I really like the last 20 minutes of this movie. That's the highest compliment that I can pay it. The problem is, this movie is 2 hours and like 10 minutes long. So, generally speaking, the characters, the action, the visual effects, the script, the performances have to be good the entire time, not just for the last 20 minutes. So if there's two nice things I can say about it, I said the first, last 20 minutes, great, love it, huge fan. Sets up the sequel, which is coming out in April of 2024. Happy New Year, by the way. And the other one is that I really like Ed Skrein's villain. The Admiral is a complete and utter terrible human being, and his performance is overall really good. Ed Skrein, who I think I'm pronouncing his last name right, it's either Skrein or Skrein. He was the bad guy also in the first Deadpool. He played Ajax, aka Francis, in that movie, and he's great here. He's really the best part of the movie. He's disgusting. He's a scumbag. He's like a clear allusion to the Nazis, and it's all great. He's nasty, and you hate him, and that's good. Everybody else, though, seems like they just really don't want to be here. The actress who plays the lead character is not very good. Charlie Hunnam is in this movie. He's just kind of here collecting a paycheck, and the movie has a lot of problems. It simply is unpolished, and so this movie does something in the first, like during the opening credits, that absolutely blows my mind. This movie is called, and the title is long and dumb, it's called Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire. Okay, the name is too long. Just call it Rebel Moon Part 1 or Rebel Moon, A Child of Fire. You don't need both of those qualifiers, so they couldn't even get that part of it. You couldn't even get the title of your movie right. And as the title is like shown on the screen, it says Rebel Moon, A Child of Fire, Part 1, which doesn't even make any sense. There's two movies. You're implying that this is Rebel Moon, A Child of Fire, Part 1, but it's not. Like, it shows the title in the wrong order on the screen. Like, it shows the title in the complete wrong order. Instead of saying Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire, it says Rebel Moon, A Child of Fire, Part 1. So you can't even correctly tell me the name of your movie in the movie. I just don't understand any of it. And Zack Snyder is a mixed bag. People really have a love-hate relationship with Man of Steel. I know people who think that movie is a masterpiece. If you're watching this, you know who you are. I think it's pretty good, and I think it's actually aged fairly well. It's one of the better DCEU movies. And I think probably his best movies are going to be 300, Watchmen, and then that. And here's the problem. Watchmen, he didn't write. It's based on the Frank Miller graphic novel or comic book series. Comic books. And it's tremendous. Movie is awesome. I think that's the best movie he's made so far. And then Watchmen, also adopted from the Alan Moore graphic novel. And that movie has also aged really well. Watchmen has aged well because it's now, when you look at like the Avengers and the DCEU, and then you look at Watchmen, it's kind of like a really good critique of those movies. It was just released at the wrong time. It was released in the 2000s, and it came out too early. If that movie had come out post Avengers, like post Endgame, or even maybe in the mid-aughts, I think it would have made more sense and had a better place and time had it come out then. And Sucker Punch sucks. He did that movie Army of the Dead. It was like fine. He's extremely frustrating because even in this movie, like, he's known for his visual style and flair, And there's parts of this movie where like the wrong things are in focus, or like an entire chunk of the screen is in focus and characters are in focus, but then like a part of their face is like blurred out and it looks like it's just a mistake. And for somebody who prides himself in incredible visuals, it's really kind of a stink burger. The music here is unremarkable. I was bored. The fact that I was bored for over an hour and a half of this movie is a huge problem. It doesn't make a good first impression. The first and second and most of the third acts are just terrible. And then when all the twists and turns and the big like breakout fight action sequence at the end happens, at this point, you're too late. You're too late. And we'll see what happens with part 2. I think it's called The Scargiver. It comes out again in April. But yeah, man, Rebel Moon, what a disappointment. And this movie, Zack Snyder originally pitched it to Disney as a Star Wars film, like a standalone Star Wars film. And I can see why they didn't choose to go in that direction. But it's just this movie is just like, if you're going to make a space opera, it's always going to be compared to Star Wars, whether that's fair or not. And man, dog, this ain't it, dude. This ain't it. So I appreciate the effort, though. Nice try. We'll see what happens with the sequel. But this one is... Again, the last 20 minutes, so good. Everything that leads up to it, complete and utter hot trash, on fire garbage. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it. If you found this helpful, if you love the movie and I'm insane, tell me in the comments. If you hate the movie and I am right, pat me on the back in the comments. I love that for me. And I'll see you next Wednesday at 9 a.m. Goodbye.